We are back, and there's no Paul in the building, so I forgot to play the music. That's straight away. Here we go. We've got background music coming in. Let me turn that down. So I'm moderating and hosting this week. Paul is too busy to join us, unfortunately. We thought we were going to have a quieter August just to start off this session, because we thought last year it was kind of, a little bit down. There wasn't much going on. And then this August, the exact opposite happened. Dance 2.5 dropped. All clients went crazy giving us briefs. And it's just been so intense. Let us know in the comments if you're feeling the same. If you anticipated that August would be a bit of a calmer month, some holidays type stuff. It was certainly not that for us. And we got Lara straight in the building. Hey, that means we're live. That's good to see. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. Super excited to have our creator session here with Blacklight, who I actually met in person recently, which was so nice, honestly. And Upscale was a hell of a thing, wasn't it? Like, it was one hell of an event, and that was in San Fran, Andrew. You missed out on that one, mate. We really should have got you to that one. It was probably my favorite to date, honestly.
Really?
It was because at Google I/O, I was very thankful for that invite, but it was just too many people. It was Glastonbury size, It was like thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and like so many different places to go. And the Magnific one was basically exactly the right size, like 900-ish people, and they were all really, really good, interesting people to talk to and meet and stuff. He got a funny side story. We were going out for a cigarette, and he just got swamped by cameras because he hasn't shown up to many events yet.
Wow.
So literally, there were 6 different people trying to interview him, saying, we'll just be quick. And I came back 30 minutes later, and he was still being grilled around everything. It was hilarious.
I love
to that.
I love when people do that. It's funny. Like, for you to come to an event, it's got to be special. I like when they do that.
Exactly.
I love that.
We don't ever perceive yourself outside of yourself either, so you don't know how people perceive you. So when you see all these people that are really excited to meet you, it was new for me. I was like, oh, after being in my own world for so long,
especially because the way it started was like, are you Blacklight? And as soon as you confirmed, everyone was like, right, I was like, oh, there he is. It's really funny to see that. Brilliant. I said, Andrew, the next thing we got to do, get him a passport so that he can get over to Europe, so that we can bloody get him at the European events, because got to export some of this energy and culture. Hey, we got Berlin in the house. Sacramento tuning in. Saying that your audio is a bit low. Is there any way to shoot up the mic?
Yeah, let me see. I can also move it closer to my mouth.
It may be also because I'm playing the background music. Let me turn the background music down a bit. There we go. But now we know we're live, going around the world. We've got several people tuning in. I can properly start getting into the intro. So super excited for the session, as I said. With sessions like this, not unlike our usual show, there's no polling, there's no voting. Obviously, we've picked Blacklight as a special guest, and so we're not going to be judging any of the stuff. Plus, it's hilarious, it's crazy, it's all over the place. It's about universe building this episode. We really want to get into world building, universe building, because that's what's coming at the end of the year. And I said in the green room, I just wanted to say a bit of a mutual respect to Dolly Parton, who I believe we all really, really, as musicians, as radio, Andrew, MySpace, all of this, I think everybody was sort of shocked by Dolly Parton's passing. Not that, it wasn't because of her age or anything, but just because of how much influence, and it even aligned people on the left and the right, I noticed, politically, which was very rare to see this, this mutual outpour of love for this person. And my favorite story was about this guy that receives books for his children on the Dolly Parton Foundation. And the reason that she started all of this was because her dad was illiterate, essentially, and she never wanted anyone to not be able to read. And so she started a foundation to send books. And just what a special person, not many rich, famous people like that do such nice things to other people like that. So, yeah, just mutual respect.
It was like a double whammy.
Oh, God, we're losing too many greats lately, aren't we? It's
I think of
it's tragic
from Rocky Horror when he's at the very end, don't dream it, be it. And when I heard that, like, when I remember watching that as a teenager, going one to the midnight shows, and that always stuck with me. Like, don't dream it, be it.
Be it. I love it. Yeah,
that's a great quote.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Mary tuning in. Our best commenter of the whole show. Oh, the views are really coming up today. People are back. Are people back? Are we back from summer holidays, guys? Are we finally back at work? Is our parents now, back? Let us know in the comments if you've dropped off your kids today at school and you're back.
Mine's going back next week, Wednesday. So I've got another week. Another week. It's been a long summer, but a fun one, I have to admit.
It has been a crazy summer. In the UK, I was not prepared for it. 7 heat waves. And I'll keep saying to people, is this now what we just have to deal with? Are we now Europe now? I don't know. Should I buy air conditioning like out the wazoo?
Invest in air conditioning. I'm telling you.
I'm thinking so. For real.
It's for the coolest summer for the rest of your life.
Too right. Well, I keep taking a leaf out of all my American friends' books because they're like, you don't have air conditioning? I'm like, no, like 5% of houses in the UK have air conditioning, like less than that maybe. It's so shocking to most people. And I'm like, no, that's how it is. We're not used to this at all. But I wanted to open up this thing and say how proud of you I am. As we've been talking a lot, right? The fact that you've bootstrapped your studio, the fact that you've done all of this without other people's money, and you've been very transparent about all of that and how it's been going down. Let us know where you are right now. You just signed a new lease, right? In the studio you're sitting in and everything like that. Let us know. How did that happen? When did it happen? How long's the commit? All of that?
Yeah, we had a friend of ours through Sway, Melina, Johnny Ashcroft, who does a lot of branding and stuff, and he has a studio in this building, and so we started doing like weekly hang-ups, and I realized there was like a lot of creators like in this area, and I was like, why don't we all just like hang out and do like a Meatly hangout? And so it was like TJ, Ace, and Chupacabra, and Underworld, and me, and a few others, and we just started hanging out. And then one day a few months ago, Johnny's like, hey, there's a studio that's opening up on the top floor. You guys should go check it out. And that was like on a Thursday. And by that Monday, the next Monday, we had signed the lease. The three of us were like, hey, let's do it.
Awesome.
And
Nice.
Just moved in. We're in a little rough part of town, but I think that's where a lot of culture comes from.
Exactly.
Like yesterday morning, I was like having a cigarette. It's like 7:30 in the morning, and I hear this just like house music just bumping.
Let's go.
It's like this 70-year-old with a top hat in a wheelchair, and he's just going down the middle of the street. And I was like, endless inspiration.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Just self-funded and trying to just bootstrap it ourselves. I think that's, trying to own your own stuff and maintain that for as long as possible has been like important to me. And that's everything from content to the words that come out of my mouth. So
nice.
Tried to keep it
absolutely. And I love the fact that you're like, yeah, exactly. And you're getting local people together and you're starting a stream and stuff, similar to us. That's where we talked. And I was like, do it, let's do some collabs on that in the future. Unite two little, spaces in the AI space is so good. I did that recently with Lisbon and London. I was like trying to get these two communities together because they're two of the coolest I hang out with. I'm like, we've got to do cross events. We've got to do cross live streams. And we had Lisbon come over to London, take over with Felipe, and it was awesome. Honestly, I was like, this is two great cultures colliding here and making cool stuff, So I'm so glad I opened up with that question because, not many people we know, Andrew, truthfully, have done it bootstrapped. They've all got a lot of like investment and VC money, and it's a lot different, to doing stuff bootstrapped and earning every dollar and doing all of that, and the hustle behind all of that.
It's that independent grind. This one thing I know about whenever I've gone to the West Coast, especially. That independent grind I've noticed is everywhere. I remember going to San Francisco and everyone was talking about, I was working in music at the time. Everyone was talking about the independent like hustle. And it was down the whole of the West Coast from, as Dr. Dre said, Diego to the Bay, but also even like from Seattle all the way down. So it's that I really love it. And the fact that what you're doing there is kind of like the spirit of the West Coast, like the independent hustle, really. And
well, what a name then, to be called West Coast AI Labs and then be the spirit of the West Coast. That's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. It's that hustle. But what I want to find out, really though, you've got the studio, but you're almost looking at AI at that next level when it comes to videos. And we mentioned this yesterday. So pretty much everyone in the chat was here yesterday, and we talked about world building. It would be great to kind of find out from the most layman terms, what exactly is that in this world that we're about to enter? Not necessarily world building, but this AI video world.
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest way to explain it is like, think about a video game. And when they're building a video game, there was a game, like a program that came out a couple years ago on PlayStation called Dreams. I don't know if you remember this, but you'd have like the two little controllers and you could essentially create your own worlds. You would start with just a plane of existence, if you want to call it that, just a rectangle block, and then everything is built on top of that. So there's like rules of the world where, for me, like everyone has this weird, body horror sort of element to it, but nobody addresses it. It's just one of the rules of this world, which is different than like our reality. Right. So that's one aspect of it. And then it's the locations, the people, the objects, the food, all of those different components can all be changed. And in your world, there are world rules that it goes by. It looks a certain way. It acts a certain way. The people are a certain way. The food's a certain way. And it kind of just bleeds into everything. And so when you're doing world building, especially with video, you're creating characters that exist in this world, and they may have a singular purpose. But if you were to take a 10,000 foot view out, they're a complex character. They have other things that they do besides like the show. So like for me, I started with characters that would be a cryptid dating game is a good example. So it's a dating game show and they're trying to match with different cryptids. The host is very weird and cryptid looking himself, and he's the host of that show. But he leaves at the studio at the end of the day. So like, what's the rest of his life like? Does he have a girlfriend? Does he have a romantic interest? What does he do in the off time? And so it's like building up these different shows in that world and then kind of breaking them out of the mold of the show that they live in and kind of showing the cross-pollination of like these characters and the stories that their real lives have that may be different than the jobs that they may have.
Love that.
I love that too.
Yeah, it's just, I think that if you look at, for example, Marvel and the cinematic universe there, Quentin Tarantino does it great. Like when they kind of that world where it's like this is happening in the same world, and video games as well. It's always, since I was young, I was like, I wonder what would happen next, or I wonder what happened when they done this. And essentially, what you're saying is now it's possible. And now it's possible. We and
that's the way to think, mate. That's the difference here. By the way, if you can turn up your mic anymore, I think there's someone saying that it's still funny, a little bit hard to hear, but I hear you okay through the headphones. But yeah, just for the audience members.
Sure.
But yeah, I think the best thing you said there that really gets me thinking is thinking the 10,000 feet above thing, instead of like episode by episode, it's character traits, it's things that are overall going to be influential. Like, for example, like one of the rules for one of your characters, Andrew, could be this guy is never happy, so whatever the situation he encounters, he has a negative effect to it, and that's like a rule of your world whereby a character engages with a plot line and it has a twist that's coming that you can predict, but like that's the sort of higher holistic thinking than just here's exactly what happens in this episode. Here's how a character would act in this world, which is it's just a different level of thinking altogether. And I think some people are like ready for that, and I think a lot of people are not ready for that. And uniquely, Blacklight's had the insight to know about this and has been building so many worlds. And Route 47 is like how big now? Like it's crazy how big it is.
Like 29 or 30 different shows, and I would say at least close to 100 characters.
Wow. You see that's like we very
like the next Springfield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've very rarely encountered someone that's got this level of characters, this level of worlds, and this is just something that's so transferable to the next level of what's going to come. That's what's so interesting about it to me. But yeah, going through to my show notes as well, I just wanted to mention that you have been asked to be a judge recently, and I'm gonna butcher the name of this, Lumara.
Yeah.
But a few of the previous guests of the show, Gossip Goblin I saw as a judge, Jay Boog, who's going to be on Sunderman, who I've collabed with. What is that exactly? Is that like another big film competition like we've been seeing, or what is it?
Yeah, it's more of like a film festival. I mean, there are cash
cool.
prizes for it and everything. It's being put on by Venice, which is at Ask Venice online. They have unrestricted model access. So when you're running C-Dance and you may have a platform that's restricting you for whatever reason, maybe it's too gory or too visceral, you can push through it on Ask Venice, and the restrictions are a lot lower there. So as a creative who does PG-13 mature rated content, you need something that's a little bit like stronger, and that's what we're using for it. So
well, I'm going to make a nice little segue with what you said there, because my next note in terms of me wanting to personally thank you is for the bullshit that we see, like the fact that you're willing to like write very, very well written articles. I told you about that earlier. I was like, I used to write for Sneaker Freaker, and I can tell you were a writer or a journalist or something at some point because of how well written your articles are. And you called out, I'm not going to name them, I'm not going to drop the names of the companies or the competitions that you called out, but always rightfully so, I would argue, and that's why I was so attracted to the writing, is like, oh, this guy really wants better for the industry. He's not just trying to shit on people or do anything like that. So if you know about that, then that's a whole nother side of you. You're so well written, articulate online, and very good at. Us Europeans need to take a big leaf out of this book because we're so passive. This is why I'm literally calling it out.
Where can people read your stuff?
I do a lot of articles on X.
It's mainly X.
Yeah. Sometimes on LinkedIn, if I have like time to it. It's like, it's so hard as a creator. You have like so many platforms to share stuff to. It's hard to like keep it all in the same place.
Well, you're just setting me up for segues, because my next thing was about platforms. Now, we also talk a lot about distribution, and me and Andrew uniquely talk about distribution a lot because we know that there's a lot of creators right now that are doing awesome stuff, but no one quite knows where to distribute it. So you got really early involved in Fairground and put me onto these guys. And Fairground, if you're unaware and watching, work with Roku, which is like a 24-hour TV streaming platform. They also work with Amazon now recently, Andrew. So Amazon Prime's a new distributor that Roku can align to and stuff like this. Fairground can align to, as well as Roku. So how did that happen initially? How were you one of the first to Fairground? How did you discover them? And, what's your thoughts about distribution in general when it comes to that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I have been interested in distribution from like the very get, because it's the off-ramp and replenishment stage for any creative. So like, once you push a project out, if you're trying to monetize that project, you monetize it however you do. The funds you make from that funds your next project. Being someone who's a self-starter, that is a very important piece, because I don't have people funding me. So I have to fund everything myself. Like, even with all the creative partnerships that I have, my AI expense at the end of last year was 5 figures. And the year before it was 5 figures. And so being in it, my first year, I think it was like getting up there, but there were less companies out there. But I mean, when you're funding it yourself, you care about the cost, and you figure out very quickly, like, I have to distribute this somehow, and how do I do that, and what are the avenues that I can monetize this so that I can keep making the stuff that I want to make. Excuse me. So yeah, they reached out to me a couple of years ago, and it was
oh, they reached out to you. That's cool. Just because you were an OG in the space, basically, and they saw your stuff. Oh, that's cool.
And they're like, you may think we're crazy. We don't have anything yet. Here's what the vision is. Here's our team. Here's the history we have. Colin, who's their CEO, was the CEO of Zumo, which is essentially like the godfather of fast TV or ad-supported television. So if you have internet but you don't have cable, you can just watch these fast TV channels. It's all ad-supported. So I knew he knew the right connections to kind of build this. At that point, I was already on Escape, which was another distribution platform, John Gata's platform. So, but that was more geared towards film, and I didn't see a revenue model early on beyond just the exposure, which is, you know, great for an emerging field. But we've been essentially all like paving this path together over the past, 22 months of different companies and different people kind of all rowing in the same direction to kind of get distribution opened up for everybody. And beyond Roku and Amazon, I think they're up to like 5 different streaming platforms right now.
That's great.
And so if you were to think about like an old distribution model of like traditional, like this is a new era because I can give Fairground content. They can distribute that content to 5 different streaming platforms, 5 different ad-supported platforms. Those are 5 revenue streams potentially,
right?
Which is a huge opportunity. The problem is it's a little bit of a leap of faith. So you're kind of, like having to put content out. You're not totally getting the ad revenue or the numbers yet because, again, we're like the first wave of this, and so there is a little bit of like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine, trust me and I trust you, and you build together. And it's not for everybody, you know what I mean? Some people need that money right away, and it's maybe not a time for an investment for them. For me, I put out so much content that I had no problem kind of like doing the investment on it.
And it honestly makes so much sense as like a medium to long-term play. As you say, like you don't know the ad revenue splits yet. We don't know all of that, but it could be a great medium to long-term play. And me and Andrew, we were talking about the fact that not many people are thinking about TV and stuff. Another little fun story that you just reminded me of in the Escape AI part. Another time we met Andrew is when I was attending Escape AI's awards ceremony. I saw him in the open... It's like an open world cinema bar thing, and you go sit in a cinema studio, and his was the first award, and he won the award, but he fell asleep. So I told him he won the award in WhatsApp afterwards. I was like, I just watched Blacklight win the first awards. Congrats. He's like, oh, I had to go do something and fell asleep. It was I was there to support him at the awards. He was there too, but then half an hour later when the award was being announced,
I love it.
I was pushing out a project around that time, and I was up until I think like 4 or 5 in the morning. And anyone who knows me, I'm up first thing in the morning. I work really long. I work full time on top of doing AI. So I'm usually doing like a minimum of 12-hour days every day. Weekends, it's nonstop. Like we talked previously about this. Like it's hard to get the machine going, but then once the machine's going, it's really hard to just hang on and keep up with it because it just snowballs.
What's your 9 to 5? What's your job?
I'm vice president of operations for a national marketing company. So I developed this company 10 years ago with the owners out of the garage. I do workflow optimization, and I've been in digital marketing for 15 years.
Nice.
So it's, AI was something else I could hop into and, share some of my creativity. I work in a highly regulated industry too.
Yeah.
I do like insurance and home services. And so there's a level of like ethics standards that I have to abide by in advertising and marketing that I naturally carry over into AI. And AI doesn't have those same, regulatory standards. And some people don't have the same ethics that I have. And so there's a little bit of a clash sometimes where it's like, no, you can do whatever you want. And I'm like, not quite. I don't think you fully understand the larger picture, but okay.
I love those two sides of your life, by the way. The fact that you're doing this very highly regulated thing. And then as Mary points out, you do have this like aesthetic style that's very unique and very different. And, I love this question, by the way. It comes down to custom models versus base model tuning. How do you keep your aesthetic do you have a LoRA system or anything like that? Yeah, I bet.
I have at least 20 different LoRA custom trained models, everything from Flux 1 to Kriya 2 to soon, Kriya's upcoming model. Anywhere that I can train to customize it makes it easier long term. I kind of broke away from Midjourney probably 2 years ago now, because I found it to be, it's a really great exploration tool and a good gateway into getting into AI. But if you want to genuinely be original, you have to, it starts at the beginning, right? You got to make your own look and your own feel and your own kind of, your own je ne sais quoi, as it is.
Totally. Yeah. Hey, we got Afro in the house. Let's go. Love to see her. Another creative session that we're really excited to see. Already, Will, are you hiring in Canada? Mary says. I think
not
things are
yet.
Gonna start happening. You're gonna get some interest in coming in, working in your studio now that people know, that you're doing this, and I think what we need to do, though, for people, I've just realized this, that are completely unaware of your content, let's watch your video, right?
Sure.
Like, we're in a creator session. This one, do you want to give any explanation as to it? Otherwise, it's just called STU Needs Money. I'm going to leave it there. Like,
I can give a little, I can tee it up. So
yeah, go on then.
We've been, so distinction, like with us here, is we're not a traditional studio model. We're all independent creators. And so it's very much a lateral organization where there's no boss. But if I want help on a project, I have this trusted network of creators that I go to that I will soundboard with. And we use the space as a creative space to bounce ideas off of. And so we started all making like Portland content, since we're all in Portland. And we were talking one day, my buddy Tupacabra came up with this. He's like, we should do like a stuntman character who just like gets completely, fucked up over and over. And I was like, oh my God, this is actually hilarious. I want to do this project. And so I started with a character model of Stu. And in every episode, something happens to Stu. And so the next episode has a new character model with the repercussions from the previous thing. So I've gone through probably 10 or 11 character models for Stu, and as he keeps having more experiences and keeps getting these horrible accidents, his body kind of gets more and more affected. And so this is one of the episodes, I think the one that you have is Stu's coming out of the hospital, and it's his next part of the adventure.
I love it. I'm so glad I asked. Well, with all that in mind, let's check it out.
It's fine. I'm okay. Stu, you answer me right now! Okay. I have plan.
Hey, sugar, you want to dance?
Yes, please. Yeah.
That'll be $40, sugar.
And we are watching this live over the... This is extraordinary. He is airborne. He is actually airborne. And he is coming down fast. This is not going to end well. Oh, he's hit something on the deck. Oh, there has been an explosion on the Portland Spirit. flying! He is completely airborne from the explosion!
Wow. That was
Stu's
brilliant.
the man. Let's go, Stu. Chupacabras in the house. Let's
that was
go.
so funny.
Mary
Wow.
goes, I want all of this. He's dead.
Not really. He's probably back. Yeah, in the next one. That was amazing. There's so many things I want to say about this. First off, the style was really good. It was.
I like it.
Like, I would watch if it was on TV. If I was just going through the channels and it was on TV, I wouldn't be thinking this is AI. I'll just be thinking this is just like a TV show. Obviously, the characters are I'd probably think special effects. I wouldn't be thinking this is AI. Like, the way you filmed it and you managed to combine real life world with the AI, like, look, I just think it's really good. Was this Sea Dance?
Sea Dance, and we walked around. So Mary's is actually a strip club here. It's like 4 blocks from our studio. And we were walking from lunch one day, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if Stu went to Mary's? And it's been around for 75 years. It's open every single day. You saw the times on there. I think it's like 11 a.m. until it's always open, essentially.
It's always open.
And so I just I took a bunch of pictures. So him walking in, that's literally what Mary's looks like. So I'm taking, real world photography. There's another episode where he tightrope walks across a steel bridge. So I'm taking like real photos and mixing them with my characters and trying to tell stories with it.
Yeah, brilliant. Love it.
So fun. I love this comment here. Hearing people like Blacklight talk about A makes a clear line between the people with actual film experience and people doing, bro influencer novelty bandwagon stuff. It's like, I think that you're so right, Andrew, because let's put it this way. Algorithms and social media can get you sort of impressions and attention, but actually something you'd want to watch on TV, flicking over on a 24-hour streaming thing with ads supporting it, you've got to get like that instant, like, nostalgic feeling. Oh, I want to watch this, otherwise you're just going to flick off straight away. That's the whole point of that sort of thing, isn't it? So every sort of scene being real and fun and engaging. I love the phone in the bin from the start, it's just straight away. You're like, right, okay, hilarious. I'll keep watching this. If that was the thing that I turned on to when I was just checking over the channels, I'd be like, this? I'll give this more time, and that's the whole idea, I think, is like, you're thinking ahead to the distribution platform and not for the social media algorithms and stuff.
Well, and social media can be gamed. You know what I mean? Like,
course,
you see how many people have, there's even right now, my account on X is being botted. And it's been an issue that I've had for a while where I have to delete these bots every single day. And people can pay for engagement. Nightmare. We see people supported by agencies and they have their own networks that grow. And then beyond that, you don't even know where your audience is. So maybe like my largest audience is on TikTok. And I do 16:9, 8-minute films, like 8-minute stories on there. And I get huge watch through numbers, counterintuitive to everything you think would be successful on social media. But on Instagram, where I don't have the feature to flip my phone and view it in widescreen, my engagement is significantly lower. And so depending on where audiences are, they get a different experience. And so you can't really like rely on those metrics as like your guiding light for success. You need to show it to people and see how they feel about it. And
Another thing we chatted about yesterday, Andrew, was remember I told you I was reading a really fascinating article about the ways that people interact with YouTube now, and TV has overtaken desktop in terms of the way it's actually used now. So people are using YouTube on TV, which again has this layer of difference, and a remote access and all of this, and it's going to be fascinating, isn't it, to see how content evolves to match distribution, basically, and the way that we
because
it does.
What made me realize because I just let you know, Blacklight, I worked at the BBC for many years, and BBC, you would create content, you put it out there. They had distributions, they were powerful. And when I left the BBC 2006, I took a leap of faith and decided to play Russian roulette with my career and join MySpace. But this was MySpace when it was only available to students. So I was part of the team to launch it outside of America. And when I went there, even though MySpace, I was there for the sharp rise, quick rise, and it was like 20 times bigger than the BBC. We could take the same content from the BBC, so content doesn't change, same content, put it on a MySpace profile and get 0 views. And you're like, that's when I realized that when it comes to content in this new world that we're living in, it's not about who creates the best content. Content is king is a myth. Content is king if people see it. We need to be thinking content, then distribution, and then conversion, i.e. how do I get people to watch it? And it's like what you're saying is that you're thinking the way that I've been teaching people for years. It's not a case of just let me create some great content, because everyone can create great content. And I've met many talented broke singers, you know, thousands of them. And it's not that their content isn't good, it's distribution is what fails them. And I think that if we go into it thinking to ourselves, yes, content is really important, but assume everyone's got great content, how can my distribution match my content? And then how can my conversion, getting people to watch it, match that? Because then content is key, because people are watching it. And I think that's really important to kind of understand. So it's refreshing to hear you be thinking about distribution as well.
Well, that's the distributor too, right? Like, so on a TV audience for a 30-minute block, you're really making 22 minutes of content. In that, you're also accounting for 2 to 3 ad breaks that are in there. So people that are making content at 22 minutes at a time are a handful at best right now. I think I know most of them, you know what I mean, that have been in the AI space, but it is a commitment to storytelling, and you have to like understand how to do pacing and how to stretch out a story into 22 minutes. Or if you're going for an hour story, making a full film, like you have to be entertained the entire way through, and be entertaining to a viewer. And how do we also do that in a time where people are turning on their TV for background noise while they're sitting and scrolling on their phone? I'm guilty of that, you know? And so I think about like what stops me from scrolling and looking at the screen, and what keeps me engaged looking at the screen. Like, I've been to movies where I've fallen asleep in the first 30 minutes because there's not enough happening on the screen. And it's not that I'm not interested in it. It's just I'm ADHD. My brain's melted from brain rot, and partially my own fault because I'm making it too, right? But those are the things you have to think about as a creator. Is how do I break beyond just entertaining people on social media? And if distribution is your goal, you have to understand the formula of what it takes to get distributed, and you have to meet those standards. And if it is sometimes creating in a box, but if you want to play that game, you got to get in the box.
Exactly. 100% true.
And if you don't even know the rules of the game, there's no point trying. That's the thing. And Afro, we'll talk about this in your episode as well, because you're saying that, you know, that's where you're stuck. Distribution doesn't match your content. And I think, you know, don't feel bad. Like, as I said, Blacklight got very early access to some of the early distribution models, as well as the world models and other things. So we're all still discovering this, you know, nobody's got the answer. Truthfully, going back to what you said about feature films, though, nothing after 45 minutes has kept my attention. So I'm fascinated about the feature films that are supposed to drop at the end of this year, and whether or not they can break that barrier, because I don't have ADHD or anything like that, but I still can't watch 40 minutes plus of something and it could be continually as good. And in AI pure anyway, you know, obviously with movies I can, but like, what about you, Andrew? What's the longest piece we've watched where you've been able to like be engaged the entire way through?
I find it hard, very difficult.
Really hard.
I'm constantly, I could be watching something and I've got to go on my phone to play a game while watching it. Like, I've almost trained myself. But I do that with football as well. Like, I could be watching a football game and I'm just like doing that. So it's very difficult to get my attention unless I'm watching something in another language. So
that's
you have to focus on that.
Yeah, I have to, because I don't like watching it dubbed. So if I'm watching Squid Games, I have to listen to the like South Korean language and then read. That's the only thing. Or Money Heist. I'm listening to the Spanish, but reading. They're the only things that gets my attention. Otherwise, I can still enjoy stuff. Or if I go to the cinema, that's the other thing as well. If I'm in the cinema, I can focus for a long time. But quickly, going back to what Afro Future said about distribution, the rapper Cassidy said, "I've been dope forever. It's just now my promotion's better." So that's what I often say to people. You'll probably been great for a long time, but now you just got to get your promotion better.
Well, it's also about packaging too, right? Like you can package 3 shorts into a block as long as there's a through line. So usually that's like a narrator, Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone, that sort of thing. And you can kind of piece those, string them together into a full block. That's just a different way to expand your storytelling. Yeah. One of the things I do is I'm really big on nonlinear storytelling. One, because that's the way that we recall memory, is it's not linear. I just did my 5th feature, which is called Mr. Gurgleson's Midnight Hour. And it's like an hour long. It's my 5th piece that's over an hour long. But this one is, like others, are like very out of order and disjointed. And it's a way to have the person kind of pay attention to what's going on. And then you take the piece away with you after the hour and kind of let it marinate, and you start to kind of understand the concepts in it. Not a lot of creators do that. People think it's a shortcut with AI. I like telling stories that way, where you're kind of drip feeding little morsels of information and have you come away with the piece with something to think about. Kind of like the Backrooms kind of sort of did this a little bit. It was a little bit more linear, but I love doing out of order storytelling. And the
I knew this
style.
episode was going to be great, because I forgot that we're all digital marketers bringing that to this, because this is what that is, isn't it? You're saying, like, you're thinking about marketing and distribution in ways that we've been doing, like Andrew's as well has done many talks on digital marketing as well. And I think that's what us people bring to it that are separate to normal creators, because they don't have a background in marketing or digital or how to distribute or how any of this stuff works. They really are like, whenever I work with pure creators, they're always like, so how's this going out? They just want to hand it off to someone and just not worry about any of that. And actually they hate it when distributors tell them it needs to be in this order, packaged in this way to meet these channels. They hate being told what to do, and they just don't want to care about they don't care if anyone sees it. That's the problem with most creators, is they just don't care if anyone sees it. They would rather just focus on the creativity, and that's it. But the whole point of this is that it has to work in distribution, right? And most people, when they come to me with a budget, Andrew, they're like, okay, so we've got 80 grand, 100 grand to make this project work. And I'm like, okay, how much of that have you left for distribution? And they say, none of it. It's all on creative. And I'm like, so where's it going? Like, what's your plan once we've made it? You've spent every single dollar on making it with no idea of where it goes. It's truly crazy.
I always think of these 3 words for any project, and it's after I finish the project, it's always, and then what? So now you've completed something, and then what? Or like you see a clip online and it's entertaining. Okay, and then what? So what is the next piece of this puzzle that you're doing?
I remember hearing someone said you have to ask it almost 7 times, and then what, to get to like what you really, really want.
7 layers deep.
So true. Going back to what we just watched, is that part of a bigger world, or is that its own?
It's just just a Portland kind of thing that we were doing as a one-off.
But would you build like the world of Portland and add characters within that?
Sure.
Is that something that you potentially would do, or is that?
Yeah, I would do it if I have so many different ideas that, you can make anything now. So it's hard to put the blinders on and say, okay, today I'm going to do stew. Like over the weekend, I started doing this new thing. I think we'll probably watch one of the things where it's Legends of the Void Spire. And I'm just thinking about Saturday morning cartoon style content that I used to love as a kid. Bring that up to 2026, make it a little bit more realistic, a little bit darker humor, a little bit adult humor, and working up towards filling in the lore right now, and then working up to like a full-on episode. Nice. And then I have the Route 47 stuff, which is like all these characters and stories that I can always dig into, and it's fun. You come in today, and I can build something, but it's going into the same bucket. Like it all kind of melds together.
And you are the king of segues, because I was just about to say, should we watch Legend of the Void Sphere? And you start talking about it. You could tell you're a streamer, by the way. You know, you really, you've even got this characterized in terms of where things should fit within the 90-minute episode. So I really appreciate it. Without Paul here as well, it's very, very helpful. If you are like as crazed about this piece as, hey, I just seen Linus in the chat. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. How's it going, mate? Good to see you. If you are, you're going to be blown away by this one, Andre. It's 7 and a bit minutes long, so strap in. It's going to be chaos, right? But get your questions ready at the end of this one about how it was made and all the characters and the world building and stuff. But let's check it out. Go on. Sorry.
So I was going to say, but before you play it, everyone in the chat as well, get your questions ready. Ask many questions. Get your questions ready as well.
Yes, exactly. At the end of the session, we'll get all of the questions starred and then get them all checking out. But let's check it. How do you is it Void Spear or Sphere? Or I wasn't sure how to say it. Void Spire. Okay, so Legend of the Void Spire. Let's check it out.
What the fuck?
Come quietly, sorceress.
Hang on! Bring her to the Void Spire.
Once your blood touches the orb, the rift never closes. This whole realm bends to me.
Magnus will stop you.
Ha ha! Your hero is already dead. He just doesn't know it yet.
My lord, Magnus, he's breached the outer gate. He's coming for her.
Then let him come. Seal the gates. The Warren's portal always leaves a scar. Tell your master the Outlander is coming.
Then I'm not waiting for sunrise.
You're outmatched here, Outlander. Lost, little warrior, in our bogue now. Keep your trinkets, warrior.
Marsh Bloom. She's not far now. Not today.
That trinket smells of old magic. We'll be taking it.
Not the way I wanted this to go. She came through here.
Hold on, Corliss! Redoubles her efforts! Yes!
None shall pass.
Move! Corliss!
Magnus, it's a trap. He's been waiting.
You found her faster than I expected. Bold for a creature who doesn't understand what he's walked into.
I understand enough. Let her go!
Then let's finish this properly. Is that all your kind has left?
This power belongs to no warlord.
Dare interrupt me?
Use the Chaos Warrior!
Magnus, the orb! It's failing!
This isn't over! Told you I don't wait for sunrise.
I think this just about sums it up from Tim the Legend joining in. 13-year-old me would love this as much today as today me loves this. So I think Linus said something very similar. Exactly. If you knew the 1990s, if you're old enough to have watched this stuff, you know, and you appreciate this style and aesthetic, the nostalgia it brings and how different it looks from, you know, everyone trying to go for this photorealism and all this, and you're just leaning heavily into the nostalgia, and it's awesome.
Well, it's also interesting too, like everyone goes for very high fidelity, very crisp, cinematic, attention grabbing stuff. All of these were generated in 480 on purpose. because it's supposed to be older footage, which isn't high fidelity. So I ran everything at 480 and then just upscaled it to 1080 and left it. And that's it. It doesn't have to be 4K because it's matching that. And same with like the acting and the blocking. Like it's very reminiscent of those old shows where they were just made with cheap budgets. And how do you portray a cheap budget, right?
No, that's a really, really good point. Download it, literally creating 480, which saves you credits as well. So and then you can
a lot cheaper, mate. I'm telling you how much cheaper it is crazy. So that like workaround is smart.
I thought you put a particular style on the prompts, but downloading it in 480 is smart.
So I made a custom model for this series, which is like old 90s practical effects television shows, like specifically for Saturday morning, like type shows.
That's fascinating. Which was your favorite back then? I was a Power Rangers type of person. And what was your one though? What was your favorite?
Oh man, Power Rangers was a little bit. I watched them on like weekday mornings, but I remember even older stuff than that, like old Romper Room and Zoobilee Zoo. Zoobilee Zoo was probably my jam, but that is like I'm dating myself there.
Not sure about that one.
Did that one make it to the UK? Yeah,
so Zoobilee Zoo was Ben Vereen, who was like a famous dancer and actor, and they essentially would dress up like these humanoid anamorphic characters, and they would teach children about the arts. It was on like PBS or something, and so there was like a painter and a builder and a musician, and it's I'm definitely dating myself with this one. But go back and look up Zoobilee Zoo, and you'll both be horrified and entertained.
I don't think we had that one in the UK. People in the chat, what cartoons on Saturday morning did you watch? I used to watch He-Man and Thundercats. They were the two that I was really into. I love those two.
Classics. Oh my god. Got a question here from Grandma Grace as well about no, you said you stopped using Midjourney for the characters and stuff, right? So that was what exactly? What was the image generated for that one? Do you remember?
Those are custom models in Korea, so under K.
Oh, nice.
K2 large model. I made a custom image model for those, for both the location and character references.
That was another time I spotted into you, because I was listening in the airport, Andrew, as I was coming home, and Blacklight was asking all the great questions to the Korea people about the new stuff, and I was listening to their X Spaces thing, and you were talking about this, weren't you? About like foundational model building on their stuff. It's great, great questions.
So this one specifically is actually it's its own mood board plus 2 style LoRAs combined. So all in all, there's three custom data sets working together to create the imagery for this.
Similar to what Albert said, Andrew, it's about reinforcement, just every time reinforcing the style and having as many layers to reinforce that as you can. And then obviously, in his case, he's trying to obviously extract all of the metadata too to prove the copyrightability and all of that, which is next level stuff. Inspector Gadget, how did I forget that one, Mary? Oh my god, that was classic.
Inspector Gadget. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else was there.
Classic.
Astro Boy. Did you guys have Astro Boy?
Astro Boy. We did have. Oh man,
my mind's gone blank. But yeah, Inspector Gadget was definitely one of my favorites.
Did you ever read the Beano or anything like that? Like, that sort of stuff. Oh my god!
And Captain Planet for sure. I mean, we have to bring up Captain Planet.
I'm so glad Tim's seeing this. Tim, I can't wait to get you on a future creator episode if you're still watching this as well. So there's stuff like this, the fun nostalgic stuff. I'm so glad that we did this one now too, because it feels like a lot of people are going for that photorealism, and that's, up to date, modern and stuff. And this is such a breakaway. Henry's last episode was just all animation. It was next level. Oh, you were there, weren't you? I saw you in the audience. And now it's like, nostalgia, which is such a big untapped sort of market. Especially the only things I see with nostalgia, which I'm on the fence about, and I much prefer the way you do it, is these fan films that are in a world like RuneScape or World of Warcraft, because they're so like using IP and stuff, but you're obviously like inspired by these things and making your own characters and world, which is the step they need to take.
Which goes to distribution, right? And so we see a lot of these things, and we've talked about this on the stream before, where we call it like high fidelity slop or hi-fi slop, because it looks really good. But if an advertiser flags a piece of content because it's familiar, like the dragon, right? The dragon is the everyone's making dragons. Game of Thrones. If an advertiser feels that is too close to Game of Thrones and they don't want to be put up against your content, it's dead in the water. And when you're dealing with ad-supported content, the advertisers are the ones approving everything. It's not just the networks themselves.
Of course. And you know what would be fascinating if people actually knew like how much Meta was supported by ads. If you ever worked at Meta or anything like this, you know it's like 96% advertisers. So, but they don't, like people just are in social media, not working at the social media companies to know how ad supported they need to be and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fascinating just to even get in there. Hey, look, Afro's saying Trapdoor, Danger Mouse, Garfield, Fraggle Rock.
The four dozers.
Yeah. I love them.
Absolute classics. My God. How was this not on a Throwback Thursday? We should have definitely done this episode on a Throwback Thursday.
I did see someone ask about like nodes or something, Korean nodes.
Oh yeah, the Korean nodes. I saw that question. Let me try and get it up onto the stage. Are you using nodes in Korea, or any opinions on them? It came from Maureen.
Yes, I say yes and no to nodes. I prefer Flora's node system. Because you can work in it like a canvas collaboratively, and you don't have to know the node connection pieces. It will make the connections for you. So you can set up your characters, reference names, and then just reference them, and it will automatically pull the nodes and everything for you. So if you're unfamiliar with how to set up nodes, something like Flora is very helpful, because it helps you think about the technical aspect of how a scene is built, from the character sheet, the location references, any object references, into an image, into a video. So that's my preferred node system. If I were to
You've just blown my mind a bit, because InVideo asked me the other day, what could we do with our agent? And I said for it to build a node system, similar to how you're suggesting it, so that if you don't know nodes, it can be built and you can sort of reference how it's being built. And I think that's the truth of it, is actually anything that's purely agentic needs to have an underlying architecture that you can go and learn from, because otherwise it's all black magic sort of under the hood agent stuff. And if an agent instead was building a node system that you could go in and tweak and see how it works, and that's what they need. So Flora, hearing that, I didn't even know that that's what Flora did. So it's a really, really smart way to do things, honestly. I think more people need that. People bashed on nodes saying, oh, we're going straight from prompts to agentic, and nodes is a pointless in-between part. I've always said that that's total dog shit. Like nodes are not for everyone, because they look like kind of, what did Tim call it? Like the murder board or something like this, where it just looks like a hell of a like confusing thing.
And I'll give you a hot take even. Like I these people that say like, oh, they give out the workflows, they give out this, give out that. I am the exact opposite. I've spent thousands of hours developing my own workflows, my own styles. I'm not giving those out to people. And it's not that I'm like being selfish with it. It's that what works for me maybe is not going to work for somebody else. And the types of stories that I'm doing may not be the same as somebody else. So it's not going to be the same. But I personally believe that node workflow setups and customized workflows have a huge value to them. And the people that want them to be free are the people that want to capitalize off of that. And I am not about, helping. I'm down for everyone being successful, but not off of my back. You can do it yourself.
Hey, we got Lola in the house, and yes, I'm swearing. It's the Blacklight episode. What do you expect me to do? Yes, we're live through LinkedIn, but we're also interviewing Blacklight, so let's go. I never hear Chris swear before. Yeah, I try not to, honestly.
We're all fucking adults, right?
I love
exactly. Exactly.
Oh, brilliant. Murderboard, exactly. I got it right. You see, Tim, I do pay attention, mate. I love your delivery. Can't wait to have you on in a special episode, by the way. It's been a long time coming for that one. Oh my God. So where have we got to? We're at GORBO'S Swimhole. Oh my God.
I was about to say, let's watch another video.
This is where it all started.
This is, well, give us more of a setup then. What happened here?
So,
what exactly came to be?
In December of 2024, I was independent and I had seen the West Coast AI Labs founders, the originals, Underworld and Hacks. And I was like, hey, I love what you guys are making. It's very counterculture. It's very against the grain. It's pushing the models in ways that nobody else is doing. It's what I really am trying to go for as well. Let's do a collaboration. And so we decided to do kind of an AI version of Everything is Terrible, which was some artists out of LA. They took old VHS footage and kind of mashed it together into this very weird kind of mixed media film, and they've done a few of those. So we tried to do an AI version of that, which coincidentally is a lot harder to do than just like prompting, because you're prompting a lot of extra film to try to then put together to like make some sense of it.
Right.
It was very early into like making my own models back then. And GORBO'S was the first one I made off of childhood photos from my trips to the theme parks when I was a kid in Florida, like old 80s and 90s art that I had from when I was a kid, and kind of mashed those together. And GORBO'S Swimhole was like, it's based off of a water park we used to go to growing up, which was literally a swim hole. It was like a natural water thing. Cool. They closed down because a kid got a brain amoeba or something. And so
I heard about those crazy water amoebas we even heard about that in the UK. You know, there's these crazy things going on in America with these water getting into people's brain, these parasites. That was
you used to have to squirt like vinegar in your ears whenever after you get out of the water, and you could feel, or alcohol or something. It was like an alcohol mixture, and growing up in kids, you'd squirt it in your ears when you got out of the water. And so all of this kind of came together, and that's where GORBO'S Swimhole started, and that's where Route 47 started, was at GORBO'S.
I love the backstory, and I just love hearing about all of this. You know, the fact that you've got so many relations to all these videos in that, you know, they're places you've been or things that have been in your life. You know, I think that's what another thing's missing from a lot of AI creative stuff, is actually infusing their own life and experiences into stuff, not just making fantasy worlds for fantasy world's sake. You know, actually, this is exactly what Portland looks like. This is the bridge in Portland. I know it. I know the strip club, what he said, or whatever that's referenced in it. And I think Uncanny Harry does that the best, doesn't he, Andrew? He's got all these little references to like things that he knows throughout every video dotted through, and we're like, these little egg trails, but you're doing it on another level too. And it's just so good to see all these examples. But anyway, yes, love the backstory, says Gabe, and sorry to see you bounce, Tim. Big love for joining in. Let's check out GORBO'S Swimhole.
Welcome to GORBO'S Swimhole, the wettest, weirdest water park in the whole Tri-County area. Transformations may occur, folks. Emphasis on may, emphasis on occur. Today we're going deep, we're going wet, and we are not coming out the same people we went in as. First up, the locker room. These lockers are alive, don't ask. Citation! Stop running with sentient property! It's a water park! Everything's a little sentient! And that back there, folks, that's GORBO'S personal wing. We don't go back there. Not because we can't, just because we respect boundaries. Anyway, moving right along, lots more park to see. Who's ready for a slide? Let's go, let's go! The Kraken's noggin, 8 tentacles, 0 regrets, all fun!
I found a wrench in my pocket I did not know I owned. This is the third one today.
Mildred, are we supposed to go this fast?
Nobody's told me not to.
And that, folks, is how you get anywhere around here. This here is the Vestigial Revival Rapids, where old parts come back to life. That one's Gary. That one's also kinda Gary. We don't really know. Vestigial Revival Rapids, where old parts come back to life. Okay, that part definitely wasn't in the safety video. Glup on top, glup all through. Free is free, folks. Move! Yeah! Last one! Who wants it? This here feeds half the park, so drink responsibly, or don't drink it at all, actually. Whoa! Wait, is it supposed to go this fast? Hold on! We're basically nutrients now!
She's overpulsing again. Everybody back up. That's new. That's okay. That's fine. Osmosis oscillator, back online. Who's brave enough to try it first? It's mobile, Larry. We have mobile rust.
Nope. Nope right out of that.
Got it. It's already forming a union in there.
Ha! Stay curious, stay hydrated, and maybe don't touch the rust. Next up, the pump room. Hey, you got more coming? Long as the grill holds out. Last one. Who wants it? This is the beating heart of GORBO'S, huh?
I'm going to pause it there because I've recognized from the comments, actually, we've got a lot more to talk about in such a short session. Actually, we've only got 13 minutes left, and we haven't even got around to the game that you're developing as part of all of this. So you're on mute at the moment, but let us know more about the game. I forgot to say that at the top of the show. What is the game that's being developed alongside?
Yeah, so I was approached by some developers that came from like Insomniac, Ratchet and Clank, Subway Surfers, probably about a year ago. They were working on some AI stuff and gaming, and then in January they kind of pivoted, and they wanted to, what they were working on kind of overlapped with Route 47. Yeah. And so we decided to make a game out of Route 47. And we're starting with just GORBO'S Swimhole because it's so massive of like its own IP already. So we're making a game that's going to be on Steam, and starting with GORBO'S Swimhole, you'll be able to go to the park and experience some of the rides and activities there. It's going to be a multiplayer experience.
So cool.
Yeah, and so where it's like an active development right now, I have weekly calls with the team, and I'm providing all the assets, and they're doing all of the game development side of it. So yeah, they're a really cool studio. I think
blew my mind with the video that you showed me at Upscale with the generative world, filling in Andrew, this is what we talked about, the fact that there's no real like game engine, and it's like, rendering part of the pixels as you're walking through. But the idea here is that Blacklight's GORBO'S Swimhole has all these places, like a big water slide and a big this, and these are like assets you can drop in but then you can have things like sort of in between being developed. Isn't that crazy though, that the gaming, the video, and the filmmaking is all sort of aligning? The virtual reality, the AR, it's all coming in.
If you look at games over the last 10 years, they're like interactive movies.
Yeah, totally.
I sometimes, like when my friend was playing one of the Call of Duty games, like I would literally watch the cutscenes. I would watching just for the cutscenes because I was thinking it was really interesting. And you could go on YouTube now and just watch just the cutscenes of certain things. And so it doesn't surprise me when you've got games that are turning into films and films that are turning into games or TV shows. And the fact that what you're doing here, Blacklight.
Well, you said something yesterday, mate. You said, didn't you say GTA 6 dropped on Netflix or something? I still need to go watch that.
The extended look,
yeah.
So what exactly is that?
It's the gameplay. So they've literally got somebody playing the game, and you're seeing it. And when you break down the detail of it, I honestly think the reason it's been delayed is because of AI when it comes to GTA. I think they're looking at it like if we would have put it out 2023, we would have missed the whole AI, and we're gonna have to put something else out. So I think they've just waited until it got to the point where it's like, look, we can't wait no more because people are getting like pissed off now. But they built it so you can build the game. You can have literally Blacklight can have his world within GTA, like Portland. You control Portland. You're like the mafia boss controlling Portland. Like if anyone builds on Portland, you have to get a cut. So it literally is like that. And I can just imagine things like that happen. I think that's what's happened. But the fact that you're building a game, I'd love to play that game. I'd love to see that.
Love this comment.
The water park. Go to that place where it's like you're not allowed to go.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't talk about them too much, but I have more. So I've said on my profile for the longest time, creating generative experiences, and I've always kind of seen where this is ultimately going to.
Yeah.
And I will be one of the like experience builders that people will be able to go in and experience the different worlds and stuff.
So cool.
The game will be like a open world multiplayer friend swap type of game.
How fun. And Steam is the best place for it. Steam is exactly where it should be distributed, and those types of games feel like they've got a real space there. How does Steam feel about purely generative worlds? Because I know that there was some kickback from gaming distribution platforms about Gen AI in games. Have they said anything?
So it's kind of unique because a lot of the assets that are coming from Route 47 come from my own images and photography and art, which then made a model, which then made those images. And then it's going to, those images are creating 3D assets. The 3D assets are being hand built into like the map and the game world itself. And so the AI part of the process is so small in comparison to the work that's being done around like building the game itself. Right.
Wow, that's so fascinating, isn't it? Because in a court, you could say exactly that. Like, yes, and in fact, actually, isn't that what was said recently, Andrew? Is like in the Oscars and stuff, only if AI is used in the final output does it need to be declared. But if it's used in the research and the writing and the planning, then it doesn't need to be declared. So again, like if you're ending in a 3D rendering, which is a human element, but AI was used as the LoRA before that, then we're in this weird territory again where it wasn't a final AI output. Does it need to be declared? Does it not need to be declared? Like all of these are going to be really, really murky territories. I know that Australia just literally tried to ban Gen AI music, for example. But then the question straight away is, well, what constitutes Gen AI music? If you tried some stuff in Suno, but that wasn't your final output, but you did research and songwriting or maybe got a voice or, how much where's the line? Everyone wants to know where's the line. Like
human authorship. You have to be able to prove that you are a human author in it. And I love Afro made a comment above that. I'm one of her favorite AI music producers too.
Yeah, I saw that. I was about to say that. Yeah.
So this is one of the things Chris and I have in common. I've been a musician. Like I've been playing piano since I was 5. I took classically trained for 10 years. Like music is the reason why I kind of got into a lot of this stuff because I have a lot of old like samples and ditties and songs that I would write and recordings, and it was just another piece of the puzzle. But music is a perfect example of like you have to prove the authorship there, right? Especially now as we're seeing all like Universal coming in with Udio and the new acquisition with Suno. Like human authorship is always going to be the thing that you have to prove. And the more tools that you stack on top of that, the more of a house of cards it kind of becomes. But if you can point to where you were the decision maker, the creator, the originator in multiple steps along that process, the easier it is to prove. So like for someone like me, I made the samples for the music. I used AI maybe for the music, but I created the rhythm, the melody, the soundtrack. I created the images, the photography, the photos. Maybe I used AI to generate the animations and stuff, but multiple points in any part of a single project is me injecting my own stuff into it. And the more often you can do that, and the edit alone is another part of it. So
yes, totally.
There's multiple points where you're like injecting yourself into that process. And the more you do that, the easier it is to explain later on.
I'm so glad you said the edit too, because seeing Henry's screen last week was seriously insane.
Yeah.
I was like, you've got more layers of audio alone than most people do AI video, you know, like it's like such a level of detail. And I think this is one of the things that I was most excited about is finding out how many musicians were involved in AI Afro actually, because always in marketing, the best marketers are music heads, and this was no coincidence. I discovered this over meeting many thousands of marketers. I'm like, wow, it's crazy that like the best 1% of all of you has a music background and maybe didn't even study marketing. You know, that was the common thread, and it's transferred to AI beautifully. You know what, I was actually surprised it took so long, because us musicians were used to DAWs, which is software, which was a total transfer to AI, you know, like, I'm still surprised to this day by the amount of Ableton people that haven't picked up other things and don't make music videos with Ableton beats and stuff. So hopefully we can do something about that in the future, though, with the more and more musicians, you know, coming out as, yes, we work in AI. Yes, we were musicians, but we don't have this same, you know, attitude towards it. I think the hardest ones to come over, though, truly are the illustrators and the VFX people.
I think it's showing people, right? Like we've seen so many cases of fan fiction and recreations, and it's an easy in to create fan fiction stuff. It is significantly harder. Like, I'm not a gossip goblin, right? Like, I don't have a team of people and voice actors and backing and all of these things. I don't have this massive team. I'm a guy. I got a couple buddies here that I can bounce ideas off of, but I'm one dude just making all of this stuff. And it's showing people that as an individual, you can bring your own art to the table, and you don't need to have millions of followers to become like, you know, to reach a certain level. It's in the niche, you know, like my largest audiences are addicted to my content on TikTok and on other socials because, you know, that they just fell in love with it. They found it, they love it, and it's kind of, they say, oh, my show's on. That's not mine anymore. When people claim their show is on, you don't own it anymore. Like, and so you're now creating for an audience, and it doesn't need to be millions of people. You know, 100,000 people that are committed to watching and being there and show up for you. That's all it takes sometimes.
Yep. Wow. And hardcore audience, like you say, is so much more likely to buy from you too, you know, and that's the thing. And as Lola says rightly, having a big audience is a big blessing and a curse also, you know. And we've seen many people grow in things that they don't even want to do as a service. You know, they hop on an algorithmic trend, they gain 100,000 followers, and then they never do that thing. Yeah, exactly. Then they've gained 100,000 of the wrong people, because the things that they actually want to make and put out aren't going to be well received by them. So now that they've actually tainted their audience, you know, they should have just slowly crept up with the right audience, but instead they took a big chunk from the wrong audience. And this it's
we talked to Tim Curry. Right? Like, think about Tim Curry and Rocky Horror. Rocky Horror was a box office flop. He was embarrassed of that film when it first came out. And then when he started to go and see that they were doing midnight screenings and it became kind of a cult classic, you know, 40 years later, we're here talking about Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't know many other films from the late 70s that we still talk about on a regular basis. It's become iconic. And so even though something doesn't today seem like it's the thing, you know, if you believe in your creations and you can find an audience for it, cult classics last, the ages, and people can come around to it. So it's just about staying true to yourself and your vision, and to just kind of make what you want to make.
Yeah, definitely.
I heard a quote from Brad Pitt that Fight Club, like the best. He said that it was it was the best movie he thinks he's ever made, and he was devastated when it flopped because he thought, this is the best thing that's ever made. But he said, I'm not worried about it flopping because I know this will be, in the long arc of history, one of my most known and well-loved films. And how right was he? Imagine going there, though, and seeing the backlash of it in real time. But then flashing forward 25 years to, this is one of the biggest cult classics ever made, and
it's the same as Scarface. Exactly. in the cinema. And now it's like it got to the point where I was watching MTV Cribs and everyone had Scarface DVD. Like they didn't even watch it. Yeah, or the poster. It's still in the wrap. So I ended up going buying it just because of that. So I'd seen it, but I bought it, just kept it in the wrap just because I was like, everyone has it, so I'm gonna have to have it. So it just becomes like I said, that I think one of the key things you said there was you create your stuff, find your audience, and then you get, the way the world works is those, as Seth Godin says, small little tribes, and then they'll tell other people. It's the same as the TV show Money Heist on Netflix. It was on twice. It had 2 seasons in like some random Spanish channel, and then Netflix just picked it up because it was when they were just trying to just get as much content as possible, and then it just had a following and a bigger following and a bigger following, to the point they're like, look, we're gonna have to bring this back. And next thing you know, you had Neymar being featured in it, and all of these celebrities being featured in this show, and now you've got a world. They've created a spin-off for this and another thing for this, and sometimes that's what it takes. You think,
was that one that came out in COVID with Tiger King and that? Because I remember it blowing up at that time and going,
I can't remember when it came out. Yeah, I can't remember when it came out. It must have been around about that time. But I just remember watching
I very rarely watch Spanish subtitled anything, and this everyone was going Money Heist, Money Heist, Money Heist. I was like, okay, I'll give this a watch, because I think it was lockdown, because I was like watching a lot more shows than I would usually watch because there was nothing open, And but isn't it so strange that like people like the funny thing about what you just said, mate, is that Netflix was trying to get as much content as they could then. Now Amazon Prime, Roku, all these guys are trying to do the same with AI, but they need to do quality control, and that's the thing that they're going to learn. Is like, I read a stat that you shared actually the other day, Blacklight, which is like, I think Fairground only accepts 1 in 20 or something like this.
Something like that. Yeah, they've gotten like 2,000 plus submissions, and I think only 100 and, don't quote me on the number, but I think it was less than 200 creators they're actually like showcasing right now.
Right. And that's going to really matter, huh?
Same thing. And that was my feedback to them, is like, if you want more creators to create, give them the rules of the box. What time slots are available? What are the themes that they're looking for? What type of stories do people want to watch? What does the engagement look like? Those metrics are feedback loops that a creator needs. And if you can get those faster or in real time, then you're not spinning your wheels. You're actually building towards something and not just like market testing constantly.
Exactly. Now, let me get, I'll write a quick thing for your handle for anyone that's got any follow-up questions, because I recognize that we're already over and you've got a whole day ahead of you, so we're not going to hold you back. That is the right handle to get you right on.
That's me. Yep.
X. That's you. Okay, great. So if you have any more follow-up questions for Blacklight, you've been very generous with your time, and we know how early it is in the morning for you. We really appreciate it. And our SF tuners in, who are even earlier in the morning, which is awesome that you guys showed up. It's flown by this 90 minutes.
Yeah, really quick.
One of the fastest creator sessions, I think. And I'm so glad that we finally did it, because we've been talking a lot, right, on the phone, and we talk a lot just in generally about distribution and actually caring for people. This is something I very rarely get to say about many people, but you really want the best for people, and you don't want people to get screwed over. You don't want companies to screw other people. Again, I'm not mentioning names there. I'm just being very, but I really appreciate that about you, and how much you care about other independents, like, not getting screwed over and everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a long time coming for this episode, and no doubt we'll do more in the future. You mentioned a feature film to me that you're building. Like, is that something that's going to be seen anytime soon, or
it's
is
on
it
my YouTube now? It's called Mr.
Oh, it's already
Garrison's
there. Oh my
Midnight
God,
Hour.
you're a machine. How do you do it?
Yeah, I can try to send. Let me see if I can.
Oh my God. And the love's coming in from everybody as well. We'll probably get some delayed feedback on LinkedIn because they're a minute or two behind the stream. So check in for the love coming in after that. Thank you for restreaming it too to your audience. I noticed that
it's been so much fun.
Your audience, our audience, on your X audience, your YouTube.
Is the film Mr. Gergelson's Midnight Hour?
That's it.
There we go.
Yeah. Oh, so I've just done it now.
It's a head trip, so be prepared for a descent into insanity.
Love it.
I
know what I'll be watching tonight.
Yeah, there we go. And I just love the nostalgia trip. It was, like I said, it felt like a throwback Thursday, even though it's Wordplay Wednesday. So
brilliant.
The last question that's coming in. What could he recommend for newer generations and students? Last question to come in.
Yeah, don't get overwhelmed. Pick a company that can do like all of the things you're looking for. The ones I recommend, are Krea and Krea, if you want to call it that. Magnific are good starting points. They'll get you kind of what you need to get going, and then learn the product offerings. Don't feel rushed. Don't feel overwhelmed. There's a lot of pieces to it, and don't learn something new until you need it.
Hey, Linus, tuning into the end,
thanks
buddy.
for showing up,
Really
Linus.
appreciate you, man. Really appreciate you. What were you going to say, Andrew, before I rudely interrupted you? Sorry, mate.
No, I was just going to say thanks to everyone in the comments in the chat. So I was going to close the show, but it's
a really active chat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
A really active chat this week. So really, thanks so much for showing up, you guys. We know it's so different times for everybody. For anybody that is new, that's tuning in for the first time, we do these sessions every week, Tuesday and Wednesday. It's the same hours that you're tuning in live. So wherever you are in the world, whatever time it is for you, keep an eye on those 2 hours that we've been live. Can't wait to see you guys again on a future session, and specifically have you back for a future session. Thank you so much again.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been so fun, hasn't it? Like I said, it absolutely flew
enjoyed
by.
today. Really did.
Yeah,
one of my favorite
me too.
ones.
And we had loads of legends tuning in as well. So clearly it was an episode that we really should have got earlier. And we'll see you all again in a future episode, guys.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot, everyone. Take care. And thanks a lot, Black.